Well, I'm at the garden. Thought I'd come and check it out. And there it is. The different beds. And so, doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all. Bit of weeds coming up here. Here, not too bad. Some of the remnants, my black plastic. So we talked about with the people that own the garden. He's getting up there in age. He's having a real hard time. His eyesight's going and not as strong as he used to be. He's got his hands full. So basically, he's just sort of given me the whole thing, said go to it, and we're going to share everything that is grown. You know, they're just the two of them. They don't eat a whole lot anymore, but they, you know, they have certain things that they like. So we'll have a much bigger variety this year of food. Lots more things to choose from. It'd be great. Really looking forward to it. So right now, I'm going to start piling on the hay and manure. So there's some big hay piles back there that have come out of the barn that I have total access to, and also some rotted manure down there. And these are the water barrels, and they're obviously full from the winter rains. So that's great. We set those up last year. So it looks like they need the caps put back on properly. Yep, so there's lots of work to do. Also the deer fencing that I put up here, as you can see, is had the biscuits, so that all needs to be fixed up. There's a lot of work to do, so I'm going to shut off this camera and go to it. Oh, I've been having fun. I've been leveling out the garden, just leveling it out, and I'll show you what I did here. There was a great big matted chive bundle right here in the corner. It was about 1 foot square, and it was just loaded with all of these literally were in that bed. This whole pile of these buttercup weeds, and they're notorious to get out. So the only way I was going to get it out of that clump was to take it all apart. But it needed it anyways. Who knows how many years it's been here, never divided. So out of that 1 foot square clump of chives, I planted this whole row. So now there's like a whole row of chives. And then I'll go get some hay right now, and I'll pile it up on the sides to keep the weeds down, and keep the buttercup from coming back in. There's some rhubarb there that's coming up, and there was some in there as well, and I couldn't even get it all out. I don't know how to. I'll have to get a knife or something, cut it out piece by piece, because I don't want to damage the rhubarb. And then this part I leveled, and with the leftover chives and with the other herbs I had growing in here, sort of mishmash everywhere, I took the, kind of made a row. This will be like my herb row. It's not finished yet, of course, but I replanted some of the parsley. Some of the parsley was already here, a couple clumps, and that's thyme. And I noticed that there was some sage that survived. I'm hoping that'll pop up really nice this year. So I put another clump of chives there, and then a clump of chives there, and a clump of chives there, all from that little 1 foot square clump of chives. That looks really nice. I'll see about, I know my basil didn't come up at all last year, so maybe I'll see if I can find some potted basil and stick it in here as well. Okay, time to start throwing hay over the fence. Look what I have to work beside. My life is so difficult. Hey guys. He's so cute. So it is the next day, and I just want to share with you this. The gentleman where I have the garden, he raises ducks, and he was so happy to have someone who's going to be growing his garden for him, like we're going to share what we grow. He said I could basically have the garden because he's just getting too old to take care of it now and he can't see properly. So I says, well, I'll tell you what, I'll grow everything. I'll grow some things that you like to grow, and we'll just share the garden. He said, okay, that sounds good. So he's so happy about me being there. I'm going to fix up the fence, going to grow some things, and I'm going to help him out in some other things where he needs help. So I have occasionally in the past gotten a duck from him because he raises ducks as well as the sheep that you saw. And I've gotten ducks a couple of times, and they're really good ducks. There's quite a fair bit of meat here. So he gave me 2 ducks. He had someone that was supposed to pick up a big pile of his drakes, and there was 2 that he didn't take. So he had these 2 extra ducks. So he says if I call them, I'll call them and I'll take the innards out. And are you okay with doing the rest of it? I said sure, no problem. I can do the rest of it. So he says, have you ever defeathered a duck before? And I said no. Honestly, I have not defeathered a duck. I've not even defeathered a chicken. And so that was a learning experience for me. So I actually wound up using my daughter's brand new bushcraft knife, which she bought for herself. It goes in a nice little sheath. It's the sharpest knife we had, and this worked really, really good. It's a really great little knife, and it just worked. It just did so good. And she was, she's a tween, but she got right in there, and she's just, working away, helping me. And between the 2 of us, we figured out how to defeather the duck. A little bit tricky in some places because I found that on his back by the tail and up by the neck, there's that big pile of really, really hard fat, and everything's adhered really tough to that. And then part of the wings was hard as well because some of the feathers are like right to the bone in the wings. So yeah, it was a little bit tricky, but we did it and we're happy, and we've got the gizzards and the hearts, and these will go into the freezer. And he was telling me, I just want to share this with you. For his ducks, how he cooks them is he puts them in the crock pot at night on low. So he'll put them in there with some onions and some spices, and then in the morning he'll put in some, or the next day when he wants to eat it, put in some extra vegetables. And then just before serving, he'll set in the top of the crock pot, he'll set some Chinese noodles and put the lid on, and when the noodles are done, he eats everything, and he says it's so nice and tender when you do it that way. So I don't have a crock pot, but what I'm going to do is I have a big heavy stainless steel Dutch oven, which I'm going to just put on my back burner on the stove on low, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just let that cook on really, really low all night long and try it out. But for now, these are going in the freezer because I have other things to eat for right now. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? Yeah, so that was a little bit of bartering. Oh, and he also gave us some bread. The person who bought the ducks gave him 2 ginormous garbage bags of bread. And so he had lots and lots of bread. He feeds the bread, these are like day-old, 2-day-old bread. And so he feeds them to the animals. And he let me take a bunch of bread, so I froze some bread, and I have some bread out here left for us to eat. Really good, high-quality bread. And occasionally I'll even get some duck eggs from him, so it's going to be a really nice arrangement for the summertime.